Okay. Well, let's start today in child's pose. So just come to a nice comfortable child's pose. Allow your knees to go wide as your big toes touch. As your hips sink back towards your heels, allow your head to settle down. Recognizing if your head doesn't quite make it to the floor, you want to set something underneath your hands. Allow yourself to be supported. Let's take a nice deep breath in, fill your body up, and sigh it out. See if you can surrender your weight down into the mat, just softening through your body. Noticing the connection to the floor, the feeling or sensation underneath your shins or your forehead or your forearms, whatever is actually connected to the mat. Maybe scan from the crown of your head to your toes. And just acknowledge how you're feeling here. Have your arms nice and long. See if you can begin to walk them away from you a little further so that you're creating a little more active sensation in your body. Maybe your armpits stretch. Maybe the forearms come away from the floor. Allow your tailbone to reach further back towards your heels. Just take a deep breath in. Fill your body up. And sigh that out. Start by walking your hands over to the left, right off your mat. Let your right hand come on top of your left hand. And think of drawing your right hip a little further back towards your heel. So maybe feel a nice stretch down your side body. Take a big, deep breath in and sigh it out. And take your time walking your hands through center and then over to the other side. So this time, left hand on top of right. Think of reaching across and allowing your left hip to draw back towards your heels. So feel the stretch along your whole left side, maybe from armpit, down side body into your hip and waist. Take a deep, full breath in. Feel the expansion from the inside out. And just surrender as you exhale. Let it go. And take your time bringing your hands back to center. Just one nice breath here to settle back. And then we'll come up to our hands and knees. So coming to tabletop, shoulders over wrists. We want to make sure our knees come underneath our hips. And just hide your feet behind you. Feel free to kind of wiggle into your body a little bit. Maybe it's wagging your tail from side to side. Maybe it's moving the weight from side to side or even front to back. Right? Feeling that connection underneath you. And take a moment and claw your fingers into the ground. Right? If you could picture your hand up against the mat and just claw into those fingertips. Right? You've got a really nice, good connection there. With an inhale, draw your heart and tailbone up to the sky. Feel a stretch across your belly. Pull your shoulders towards your hips. Then find an exhale to push the mat away. Push your belly all the way up into your back. Again, inhale for cow. And exhale, cat. Just think a few more rounds of this cat and cow, using your breath to get there. Taking the full breath to find the full expression of that shape. Allow yourself to take your time. So no rush. And come to a neutral spine once more. Now extend your left leg back. You're going to keep your toes on the mat. All right. Spin your heel down, and we'll lift our left arm into the air for this side plank, or a nice supported side plank. Now you might find you have to move your bottom shin out a little for a little more support. Feel free to do that. Press into the outer edge of your left foot, and then take your top arm alongside your ear. All right. So allow your side body to get a little bit longer. See if you can reach through your fingertips like you're trying to touch that side wall, and then pull your thumb back behind you so your shoulder blade rolls open a little bit. Now you can even slightly turn your heart up to the ceiling. Send your breath all the way down into your left hip. We'll take one more nice inhale here. Full sigh out. And we're going to lift the leg up into the air. Flex through your foot. Let your hand come straight up to the sky. Take a breath. As you exhale, bend your knee to your elbow. So you're going to side crunch. And then inhale back out. Again, exhale. Think of pulling your knee to your elbow. Little side crunch. Even reach up. One more time. We'll crunch it in. And then reach. And then back to hands and knees. Take your time, returning to neutral. Take a breath, lift your heart and tail. Full exhale, push the mat away. One more time, inhale big. Full exhale. Back to neutral. Now the right leg extends back, spin your heel down. You'll reach your right arm into the air. So finding that side plank. Right? Again, bottom shin can stand out for support. We really want to push into the outer edge of that back foot. So push into the floor and then take your top arm alongside your ear. So you should feel pretty flat. You can even roll your shoulder open a little so that your heart turns up towards the ceiling. Sending your breath into your right hip, push down into your right foot. Really reach across with your arm. Give yourself one more inhale here. Soften as you exhale. Now finding strength, pull your belly into your spine as you lift your leg up into the air. All right. Arm stretches up, find the balance. Take a breath here. As you exhale, you're going to pull knee to elbow, so a little side crunch, and then back out. Two more, just like that. Exhale as you squeeze. Let it be on the side body, and then reach out. So the knee isn't coming in front of you, it's squeezing up to the side. And then lengthen more. And then come back to hands and knees. Breathe in for your cow. Breathe out for cat. Inhale, cow. Curl your toes under, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Feel free to walk your dog out here, maybe wiggle into your hips a little bit more. All right, find what's working there. Feel your hands push the mat away. Let your head simply fall between your arms. Now let's lift up under the balls of our feet and let your heels both fall to the right. Keep pressing through both arms. And feel your left hip pull back a little bit more. And then inhale back up to the center, balls of your feet. Let your heels both fall to the left. Right? Pressing back through your arms. Feel your hips lifting. A little side stretch too, right? So we're really opening up our side body here, working it. Inhale back up to center. Allow your heels to draw towards the ground. Take a few breaths here. With an inhale, gently look forward towards your hands. Use your exhale to walk your feet to forward fold. We'll take halfway lift as we breathe in. Fold forward as you breathe out. Pushing the mat away, rise up as tall as you can, reaching for the sky. Hands to heart center and down by your side. Feel yourself from the crown of your head down to your toes. Take a big breath in. Sigh it out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Gently step back to plank. Get nice and strong through the core of your body, feeling your belly pull to your spine. Your heart moves forward as your heels pull back. Take another breath in. And we'll slowly lower. Maybe knees come first, elbows come to ribs, all the way down to the mat. With your breath, you'll inhale to low cobra, pressing through the tops of your feet, and use your exhale to lower back down. 2 more with your breath. Push your pelvis into the floor as you draw your elbows and shoulders back. Use your exhale to bring the forehead back to the mat. 1 more time. Strong legs. Drag those wrists back. And exhale, fold. Now curl your toes under. Maybe press up to kneeling plank. Think of your belly leaving the mat first. Elbows squeeze in. Push to kneeling plank. Full plank, then down dog. Take a full breath in. Sigh it out. Inhale, gently look forward. Exhale, step or walk to the top of your mat. Halfway lift. Fold. Push the mat away and rise up. Forward fold, right back down. Halfway lift. Step your right foot to the back of the mat. Then simply slide front to back a little bit, right? Like you're riding in a track. Right? So it's not a lift up through the hips and down. You're really just sliding the body forward and back. Feeling strength in your front leg, so strong down through your front heel. Take another breath in. With your front knee over your front ankle, drop your back knee to the floor. Soften the top of the back foot to the mat and then lift your heart to the sky. Just reaching up. Just taking a moment or two to settle into your legs, nice and strong. So don't just sink into them. Allow yourself to push through the mat. Trying to lift up through the body. Good. Well, let's take our hands to our low back. So hands to low back. You can make fists or you can take the palms of your hands, fingers down. Think of squeezing your elbows and shoulder blades together, letting the heart open up and tucking through your tailbone. So you're going to push with your hands forward and then pull your belly back as if your belly is going to try to reach your hands behind your back, right? So pull them in. Let your heart lift a little bit more. And we'll use an inhale to reach our arms back to the sky. Exhale, hands to the ground. You're going to curl your back toes under. Come to runner's lunge. So lift the back knee. Stretch and lengthen a little bit more. Reach your left fingers to the sky for a twist. All right, as you lift, see if you can squeeze your knee in towards your heart. Press down through this bottom hand and lift through the top finger. So don't just sink into your bottom shoulder. Let there be a little bit of a lift in the torso. Now pull your belly in, creating some space maybe between your thigh, right? You're gonna reach back a little bit more from the shoulder blade. So pull your shoulder a little more, and then draw your left hip to the back of your mat. Take another breath here. Gently relax the hand to the ground. Step back to plank. Use an exhale to lower to the floor. We'll take one breath for our low cobra. And then back to downward facing dog. Inhale deeply. Full exhale out. Inhale your right leg into the air. Stack your hip and then bend your knee. Now as you inhale, straighten your leg, square your hip. Exhale. Inhale, lift your hip. Exhale, bend your knee. One more time. Inhale, straighten your leg. Exhale, square your hip down. Now inhale, lift your hip. Exhale, bend your knee. Pause here. See if you can keep a little drop under your right shoulder and a lift under your left. Drawing your left thigh to the back of the room. Then we'll inhale our right leg long again. Step it forward between our hands. Let it come over to the right thumb a little bit so it's wide, wider than the runner's lunge. You're going to spin your back heel to the ground, and we're going to come up to warrior one on this side. And we're going to still attempt to keep our hips square to the front of the mat. So that right hip needs to pull back as your left hip draws forward. Now bending your elbows and your bending your elbows and drawing your shoulder blades back behind you. I want you to just kind of pull back. Allow your heart to be open as if your hands are just scraping down the sides of the walls. Stay here, push through your feet. Can you lift your chest a little bit more? And then grab your hands behind your back. Squeeze your knuckles and reach them towards your back heel. Lift your heart higher. So you should feel a nice stretch across the front of your shoulders, right? Instead of dropping your shoulders forward, you're trying to pull them back behind you. Instead of just letting your hands release, really use your arm muscles to reach away. But don't just pull down, lift out of your waist, lift your heart to the ceiling. Take one more nice deep breath here. As you exhale, fold forward, so humble warrior. You're trying to push back into your left foot and still drop into your front heel, but feet should be equally supporting you. See if you can pull your right hip towards your back heel. Reach your knuckles up away from you a little bit more. Now, with an inhale, you'll sweep your hands down and up. So they'll sweep the floor, reach up to the sky. With your exhale, come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Take a halfway lift, like a reset, and fold forward. Push the mat away and rise up. Get as tall as you can. Hands to heart center and by your side. Take a breath. And just note what you're feeling. So again, inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Take a halfway lift. This time, step your left foot to the back of the mat and slide front to back, okay? Trying not to lift your hips up and down, trying to keep them in the same plane, so they simply slide forward and back, right? The legs are strong. You'll settle to a point where your front knee is right over your front ankle, and then allow your back knee to drop. Soften the top of your foot to the floor, and really push down into the ground in order to lift your heart and arms up to the sky. All right, see if you can push the floor away a little. There's a little buoyancy there. Then the hands will come back to the low back for some support. Think of tucking through that tailbone, pressing it forward, and really pulling your belly to your hands. Right? And the more you do that, the bigger stretch you'll find at the top of your left thigh. Right? You should still be strong right into that front heel. Don't just sink into that leg. Push down into the ground. Elbows and shoulders together, heart lifts. Breathe into your front body, right? Feel your chest rise. With an inhale, reach your arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to the ground. Curl your back toes under. Lift your back knee for your runner's lunge. All right, push down into your left hand or place it on a block. And then lift your right arm to the sky. Feel your twist. And as you turn, continue to pull your right thigh in towards your heart. Keep pulling your right hip back behind you. All right, so if that hip kind of pushed out to the right side, pull it into the midline and draw it towards the back of your mat at the same time. Now lift up, right? Let there be some buoyancy. Let there be lift in your torso. Let your top shoulder open and roll. Right. Take another breath in, and then exhale, hand to the mat, step back to plank, lower down, maybe only halfway, and then press back up if you can, just a challenge, and then maybe come all the way to the floor. Roll your shoulders back for that low cobra, pull the heart forward, and then find your way to downward facing dog. Taking time to note how the body feels. Are there any changes or shifts in energy? Have we created any sensations that are different from when you first stepped onto your mat? Now you're going to lift your left leg into the air. Big inhale. As you exhale, stack your hip, bend your knee. Right? Inhale the leg straight again. Use your exhale to turn your hip down. Inhale, lift your hip. Exhale, bend your knee. Right? A little slow movement. Inhale, straighten your legs. Exhale, turn the hip down. Inhale, lift your hip. Exhale, bend your knee, and settle here for a moment. See if you can keep a lift under your right shoulder as you drop your left and draw your right hip back. Now, inhale your left leg long again, and we'll step it forward up by your left thumb. All right, so you want to take it a little wide so that we can create warrior one. Spinning your back heel down, bring your heart and arms up to the sky. And really continue to push down into your back foot, but draw your right hips forward. All right, so these hips should be squaring off to the front of the room as you drop into your front heel. Maybe still find that sensation as if your hands are at your low back when you're on your knees, and pull your belly back, right? Now bend your elbows, slide those hands like they're coming right down the wall. Just pull back behind you and pause here. See if you can open up the chest a tiny bit more as the arms and shoulders pull back, and then clasp your hands behind your back. Moving the pinky over one, so find that little awkward grip maybe. Get a little taller through your torso. Feel the lift in your heart. Feel the pull in your arms. So active through your arms as they try to draw your shoulders back further. Like you're going to try to reach your knuckles to your back heel. All right, take another breath in. Forward fold with the torso on the breath out. And try to continue to pull your left hip towards your back heel, and don't lose the weight in the back foot. So evenly distribute your weight through both legs. Push your knuckles away from you, because what happens is they tend to sink and your shoulders drop. Let your shoulders continue to pull back and meet behind your heart. Reaching up and away. One more inhale. Exhale, release them down, swipe the floor and lift them back up to the sky. Inhale. Forward fold at the top of your mat. Exhale. Find a halfway lift. Fold forward again. Bend your knees, come into chair. With an inhale, think of your body getting taller and your tailbone getting lower. As you exhale, airplane your arms back. Inhale, lift your torso, arms to the sky. Exhale, airplane them back. Light on your toes, still stay in your heels. Inhale, lift. And exhale out. One more time, inhale, stand tall, reach up to the sky. See if you can find a little upper back bend. Pulling your tailbone to your heels, so really anchor down through your legs. Doesn't matter how far you actually go, right? It's about lifting up and out of your waist. Arms might help to draw back. One more breath. Use your exhale to come up and over, finding forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and gently step back to plank. This time we're going to squeeze our ankles together. Let our heels roll to the right for a full side plank. So feel free to bring your knee back down if you want to come to that pose we were at earlier. You can keep your feet stacked or stagger them if that's more supportive. All right, nice and strong. Push through your hand, even if you're shaking a little. All right, that's the body's way of learning where to get strong. Lift through your hips. Maybe take your top arm alongside your ear. Can you stretch a little further as you pull your toes towards your face? So flex your feet and then slowly come back to plank. All right, knowing how strong you are, breathe into the pose. Heels will come back together and we'll roll them to the left, finding our side plank the other way. Reach up through your top fingers. Now really allow even your pinky toes to come back towards your face. Right? It's almost as if you're pushing the base of your big toe forward, but you're pulling your toe towards you. Right? Lift your hips, reach your top arm alongside your ear, breathe into it, and then back to plank. Take a breath. Exhale, lower to the ground. Inhale, forward and up, and exhale, down dog. Take a deep breath in and a full sigh out. A gentle inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step, walk, or float to forward fold. Take a nice halfway lift. Fold tight. Chair pose. Sit low. Take a breath. Exhale, airplane your arms back. Squeeze your belly in. Inhale, sit. Allow your heart to lift. Exhale, airplane your arms. Inhale, lift. One more time. Exhale, airplane. Push the mat away, reach up tall. Bring your hands to heart center and release by your side. Just staying here for a pause, maybe eyes closed. Feel from the crown of your head down to your toes. Take a deep breath in. Sigh it out. Now step your left foot to the back of your mat and turn your toes to face the side. You can allow your toes to point slightly in, heels slightly out. All right. Push down to the outer edges of your feet. So just notice that sensation. You can even kind of rock into them a little bit to feel that. See if you can feel a lift into the inner arches of your feet. Now, arms out and up. Like a big star. Get as big as you can. Breathe into it. We'll take a fold, leaning forward and down, allowing our hands to come to support on something, whether it's the ground or our shins, maybe up at our thighs, whatever feels right. Allow your weight to evenly distribute to the ball of your foot so you're not sinking back into your heel. Right? Feel your tailbone tipping up towards the ceiling a little bit as you breathe into the backs of your legs. Allow your torso to hang. Maybe even shake your head out a little bit, noting there's no tension in the neck. And come to a halfway lift with your hands down underneath your heart for support. And allow your left hand to place down with the fingers slightly pointed off to the right, and then lift your right arm into the air. So you're twisting your torso here. Right? And for a moment, I want you to drop your left hip and really push into your right, just for a moment so you feel that sensation. And even kind of soften your right knee. And you can lift up a little more. You might feel your torso turn a little bit more. Really reach back behind you. Where do you feel that? Then I'm going to ask you to press through both feet equally, trying to lift that left hip back up. So your body might not turn as much. All right, see if you can level back through your hips so both legs are equally long. And again, my torso didn't turn as far when I did that. So now my arm doesn't extend back, it extends more up and out. Push through the crown of your head and imagine your tailbone being pulled behind you. Take one more inhale, and then gently release your right hand down. Let it replace your left. With the fingertips, will slightly turn to the left. Keep your body nice and long, almost parallel to the floor, and then reach your left arm up and out. And to start, we're gonna push into the left hip and allow the right one to drop. And that can mean a little softness in one of the knees, whatever feels right to you. All right? Sometimes I feel like my right knee is actually soft. As I turn my heart even more, right, a lot more mobility when I let my hips turn. And just reach out through your fingers. Keep your body long, which means the point from the crown of your head all the way back to your tailbone are moving in opposite directions, right? Your spine is lengthening. Now we're going to lengthen both legs. So we're going to try to level our hips off. So begin to pull your right hip back up. Right? Your torso will move wherever it needs to. Strong through both legs so they're both long equally. Lifting through your tailbone. Right? So again, now my left hand doesn't reach all the way up. Right? Allowing your heart to turn as much as it allows. Take one more breath, reach through your fingers, and then gently release back down to forward fold. Just fall into it. Allow your legs to be your support, right? They're strong, reaching up towards the sky as your torso swings and simply hangs between them, right? And maybe taking our hands to our thighs, softening through the knees, come up halfway, and then on an inhale, come all the way up with a tall spine. Take your left set of toes and point them to the back of the mat, bending your knee, opening your arms for warrior two. Allow your heart to lift. Think of your shoulder blades coming back and down your spine, right? And if you're not really sure, just shrug them up to your ears and then pull them down. See what happens. Reaching out as if your fingers are being pulled away from you. Right, take a moment and bend a little deeper into your knee. And then just straighten that leg a little bit. And see if you can bend a little deeper and straighten it. Last time, sink into your warrior two, right here. Keeping the legs nice and strong. Flip your left palm, reverse your warrior. So the arms just move. Left arm straight to the ceiling, right arm down. Now, reach a little further through your arm, right? As if it's pulling you off the ground. So let it pull through your ribs. Drop down to your left hip more. And allow your left hip to anchor to the ground. right? And the waist is what's pulling up. And you inhale a little further up your body, and as you exhale, bring the hand down towards the ground. We're going to transfer our weight right into half moon. So take your weight onto that front leg, left hand to the floor, allow your back leg to lift, right arm to the sky. Right? Just like you were when you're on your knee in this side plank, we want to flex our feet. Right? Pull your toes towards your face. Right? Maybe the leg lifts a little higher than you think it can. And see if you can rotate open as if you're flat against a wall. Right? There's a lift up through your fingers. And really straighten up through your standing leg. Maybe you can take one more breath here and then softly find warrior two. Very softly coming back to warrior two. As you inhale, bring your arms up, turn your left set of toes in. As you exhale, turn your right set of toes out, bend to warrior two on the other side. Take a moment, maybe wiggle into your hips a little bit. Rolling your shoulders back and down. We're going to straighten out through our front leg, so that right leg is going to straighten, and then bend a little deeper. Again, straighten it up, push through the ground, and then sink into it. Really bend your leg. And just do that one more time. Straighten out your legs, and then find warrior two. Settle in. Right, tailbone moving straight down to the mat. So just notice if there's any kind of lift in your back hip or tilt in the pelvis forward. We want it to go straight down. Flipping your right palm, simply reverse. Arm up to the sky, back arm down. All right, and that's all I did. All I did was actually move my arms to start. Now I'm going to lift up through the fingers and take it a little further. All right, so as this arm lifts, my side body lifts. And everything on the left side sinks. Like I let the left arm drop, drip, let the shoulder kind of fall away. Right hip is going to anchor down to the ground as your torso tries to pull away. So there should be this real separation in your ribs, and allow your breath to fill that space. Right? Just move your breath into the right side. We're going to see if we can breathe all the way up that arm, reach through the fingertips, and then use your exhale to bring your right arm to the ground as you transfer your weight onto that leg. And take your time, right? So the hand comes down. If you've got a block, you can put it under there. When you're ready, your back leg lifts. And we want to see if we can actually straighten up through this standing leg. Maybe the left arm comes up to the sky, and it's okay if it doesn't. Your gaze can stay down to the floor, or maybe someday it rotates up towards the top hand. Right? Maybe you lift that leg a little higher than you think you should. But all the while, let your foot be strong. So flex through that foot. Right? Someday you might be able to lift up so those fingertips actually just hover above the floor. Don't feel like you have to. Right? Let your top shoulder roll back so you're nice and flat. And belly pulls into your back. Take another breath in. Softly step to warrior two. And we'll straighten up, turn the toes in, reach out, and then fold forward. Just enjoy this hanging sensation. And allowing your body to fall. And maybe staying nice and low, walk your hands towards your left foot. So you turn your toes to face the left side, coming into a lunge. So both sets of toes turn. You're going to take your back knee down to the ground. And we're going to walk our hands back towards our hips for a half Hanuman. Right? So a hurdle stretch or a hamstring stretch. See if you can pull your toes towards your face. Right? If the ground is too far away, maybe grab blocks. Right? Those are always nice and handy, or pillows, or if you've got Amazon boxes handy at the house. Let your toes pull towards you and almost drag your left hip back. Now take a breath, reach your heart towards your toes, and let your exhale fold you forward. Now try to relax through your left thigh. So just notice if there's any kind of tension or pinching there. See if you can relax it. Breathing into the back of your leg, the hamstring getting longer, the calf maybe stretching. And then we're going to walk our hands forward, bending the knee. Take that foot, toe heel it to the right side of the mat, setting up for pigeon. So as the foot comes down, let the knee fall towards your left thumb. Right? You can tuck that in wherever you need it to. And let your hips drop towards the mat. Take a moment and sit upright. Maybe you can move your back thigh away from you. Right? If not, maybe you can put something underneath your left hip to help keep you lifted. Right? Draw your hands back and lift your heart a bit. Now tuck your tailbone, right? So instead of letting it arch at your low back, see if you can tuck it down. Again, big stretch at the top of your right thigh, but it'll support your low back. Pull your belly in, and then maybe lift your heart a little bit more. Right? Notice the sensation. See if your right hip can drop down a little bit. Right? So instead of opening up, let it turn down. Now reach forward and down with your torso as you come into that fold. Maybe resting your head on your hands or possibly getting it to the mat. But surrender your weight into the ground. And see if you can soften through your left hip. And trying not to hold tension there. What's happening in your thigh. Even your toes. Notice if you're holding them tense. And check in with your breath. So notice if you're able to steadily inhale and exhale. Just allowing your body to relax each time you let your breath out. Feeling a bit of expansion each time you breathe in. Simply take your time bringing your torso back up. Planting your hands on the ground. Sit back to down dog. Feel free to wiggle into your hips a little bit. You'll take your right foot forward between your hands, bringing the back knee down. Walk your hands back towards your hips as you straighten out your front leg, pulling your toes towards your face. And don't feel like this front leg has to be straight, right? There could be a little soft bend in it. We do want to make sure we're lengthening our heart forward, right? So again, if it's not easy to keep lengthening out with our hands on the ground, bring them a little higher, right? So that your body can move forward. And then imagine dragging your right hip to the back of the mat. Just pulling here. Notice your little baby toe. And see if you can pull it back just as much as your big toe. Because we have a tendency to have the big toe bully the rest of the foot. So see if the outer edge of your foot can come back as well. Again, that might mean softening your knee because it can get pretty intense. Right? Breathe into where you're feeling that stretch. Allow your right thigh to soften, so notice if it's tensing up at all. Take a breath, lengthen out. Use your exhale to fold a little forward. And then slowly walk your hands back to the top of your mat. Take your time, allow your foot to work its way over towards your left thumb. As you fall into pigeon on the other side, and again, maybe put something underneath this right hip. And maybe take your back leg, walk it away from you. Right? If it's really close, your hips might be right over your heel, but you might be able to move your leg away so that your hips come behind your right heel. Staying upright, we're going to keep our hands up. We're going to tuck through our tailbone, get a little scoop, and pull that belly back. It should be really strong through your midway, right? So that lower waist is protected, your low back, your tailbone's tucked, and your belly is pulled in, so secure. That might enable you to draw your shoulders and lift your heart. A little bit of an upper back bend here. Does not have to be much. And then allow your left hip to drop. And slowly moving your heart forward and down. So think of it moving away from your hip as you settle into that pigeon. And remember to let your weight go. Allow your right hip to fall towards the ground. You shouldn't feel as if you're trying to hold yourself in the position. Allow yourself one more breath here in the pose. And slowly bring your torso up. And this time, maybe just roll into that right hip and turn to the side so you come to a straddle. And just allowing your legs to open up, sitting up nice and tall. Think of your toes pointing up towards the sky, right, rather than falling forward. So we want to keep this external rotation in our thighs. And then let your heart move forward and down. So you're just going to walk your hands out as far as your body allows. You'll know when you've hit that point of resistance, when your toes want to start falling forward. So just stay there. Maybe settle in for a moment. And if you keep your body long, you can simply drop your head as well. You might see over a few breaths, the body gives in a little bit further. But take your time. Don't feel like you need to rush it or push it any further than your body really needs to be. to stay present in this moment. It can be very easy for it to get distracted as there's little movement and you're simply staying in a posture. See if your breath can help you to move into the posture, even if it's not a lot of movement we see from the outside. Just notice the little incremental changes with each breath. Maybe a little extra lift each time you inhale. Breathing in on the exhale, letting the backs of the legs stretch, maybe the inner thighs, the groin. Maybe you feel the low back reaching away from the hip. Let your tailbone press back to the ground. We're going to use our hands to press ourselves back up. So really use that support so you're slowly coming out of this shape. Give yourself a moment with a nice upright spine. Sit tall, eyes closed, scan from the crown of your head to your toes. Take a breath in. Sigh it out. Take your time bringing your legs together, swing them to one side so you can lie down onto your mat. You can draw your knees into your chest. Maybe wrap your arms around your shins, or if it's easier, simply grab your thighs and rock from side to side. You're going to wrap right knee over your left, like you're sitting in a chair and you've crossed your legs. If you're extra bendy, you might be able to wrap your ankle, you might not. Arms simply fall to the side and your knees will fall to the left side of the room. Okay, so just let them fall. If you want, you can support them. If crossing your knees is too much, feel free to simply let them fall without crossing. Okay? Just a little deeper, twisted root position. Now let your head maybe turn to the right and see if your right shoulder can get a little bit heavier. Just sinking into it. Allow yourself deep, full breaths. So notice if the belly is constricted, where can you send your breath? One more big inhale here. And sigh it out. And just releasing the legs, bring them back into center. Feel free to rock gently from side to side. And when you're ready, cross your left over your right, letting your knees fall over to the right side this time. And allowing your left shoulder blade to drop back to the mat. Staying heavy and soft. Truly melting into the floor. And take a deep breath in, fill to the top, and sigh that out. Slowly coming back to center. Maybe grabbing your feet for a little happy baby. Drawing the knees in towards your armpits, tailbone to the ground. See if you can press down through your feet as your feet push up through your hands. And if that's too much, hold on to your shins or your thighs. Right? It doesn't mean you have to make it to your feet. Take one more big full breath in, all the way to the top, and then hold that breath. Now sigh it out, let it go. Release your feet long to the front corners of your mat and bring your arms down by your side with your palms facing the sky, knowing there's nothing left to do but just be for these next few moments while you allow your body to receive the gifts of your practice, Shavasana. Bringing your awareness back into your room. Slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes as you wake your physical body. Maybe gently roll your head from side to side. When you're ready, reach your arms overhead, stretching your feet to the front of your mat, getting as tall as you can. And simply bend your knees into your chest and roll to one side, savoring these last few moments of your practice. Just commend yourself for taking this time out of your day to nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit. And then gently make your way up to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. As you connect your thumbs to your sternum, really acknowledge that heart energy that lies beneath it. That same energy that connects us to all beings everywhere. And just take a nice deep breath in. We'll sigh it out. And I thank you for the honor and the privilege of being your guide here today. And my heart bows to your heart, or as we say, Namaste.